Hello and welcome to round one of the Just Car Insurance Australian Drifting Grand Prix. It's a whole new season and it kicks off here at Barbagallo Raceway in Western Australia. There's been a whole bunch of changes to the event format, cars and teams in the off-season. But before we take a look at that, let's check out what drifting is all about. Then we'll take a tour of the track and head into qualifying. Drifting is motorsport meets extreme sport. Instead of being the first across the finish line, drivers are judged like in freestyle motocross or skateboarding. The judges outline the course and what they want to see in a driver's briefing, and then in solo qualifying, drivers are judged on their line, angle, speed and overall impact or style. Their score is then used to determine their placing in the battle tree for the tandem runs. Drivers go head-to-head, taking turns at a lead and chase run, and the chase car is judged on their proximity and emulation, while the lead car is judged on their line speed and angle and overall impact like in qualifying. Essentially, the lead car is trying to do a perfect run, while the chase car is trying to copy their run while getting as close as possible. The judges choose a winner or a rerun, and it's best 2 out of 3. It makes for fierce racing and non-stop action. The Just Car Insurance Australian Drifting GP is the country's premier drift series and where the best come to battle it out. For more information on rules and regulations, head to our website, australiandriftinggp.com. Round 1 was held at Barbagallo Raceway in Western Australia. 2.4 kilometres long, it comprises of a short and long track for general racing, but for ADGP we used the top section of the short course, and this year for the first time a new run-up and first corner backwards from the bowl. From the Just Car Insurance start line, the track layout uses the old pits with an outer clipping point on the entry. Then across to the KS Racing outer clipping zone before an inner clipping point on the Achilles hairpin. There is 2 outer clipping points in the Newlon S's before going across the I Love Drift finish line. We'll hand over to one of our judges, Fernando Wheel, to talk about the judging criteria.
We want to see a full throttle run up, throwing the car in nice and aggressive, as close as 90 degrees as possible with a rear bar hanging over the dirt. Into a snappy transition to the outer clipping zone with the rear wheels as close to that white line as possible. Into the hairpin, hitting the inner clipping point, then pushing as wide as they can to hit the outer clipping point, keeping the wheels as close as they can to the edge of the track. From there, with as much speed and angle as possible, cross over the track once again, hit that final outer clipping point, and then over the finish line.
Yeah, so it's a great track. Love coming up over that blind hill into a blind corner, then throwing into that hairpin.
Probably one of the funnest tracks I've been on. It's super aggressive, super committed. The new track layout is really, really good. It's especially good in my car. It's really snappy and twitchy.
I reckon it's going to be good for battles. So I reckon it's going to be a good track.
First up, let's go for a ride with 5th place qualifier Michael Rosenblatt in the Newlon Oils R32 to get a first-hand look at the track. Let's take a look at that run from the outside now. Very aggressive entry there from Michael Rosenblatt. In 4th place, Josh Botcher in the Tyrite GT Radial 180 SX. Third place, going to another Queenslander, Nick Coulson, in the X-Force Performance Exhaust Achilles Radial VE Ute. Let's check out that run again now from the onboard camera. second place qualifier went to Levi Clark in the Exeter Racing S15 with another one of those crazy entries. And the man that wanted it the most, number one qualifier, Jared Klingberg, the Barossa Spot On Fishing KE70 wagon. Well, that is the top 5 qualifiers. Let's take a look now at the rest of the top 10. Stick around, because after the break, we're going to head into the top 16 tandem battle eliminations.
At Just Car Insurance, we're into imported, high-performance and modified cars. So if it's not just a car and you want comprehensive insurance that offers easy pay-by-the-month premiums, call Just Car Insurance on 13 13 26 or buy a new policy online and save $50.
Hello and welcome back to round 1 of the Just Car Insurance Australian Drifting Grand Prix. One of the biggest changes to this year's event format is the running of 2 of our rounds inside Powercruise. So what is Powercruise? Well, a little bit hard to explain in words, so let's go and take a look. Powercruise is a car event like no other, combining competitive events including off-street racing, power skids, burnouts and drifting with a more traditional car show including show and shine, trade stands and entertainment, along with the most important unique ingredient, cruising. Essentially, you can load your mates into your car and hit the track for a cruise alongside the toughest street and race cars in the country. It's not a race around the track, but you can line up other cars down the straight, and best of all, you get to enjoy it with your mates. The diversity of cars is huge, with old school muscle, hot rods and Aussie saloons mixing with imports, drift cars, track cars and even exotics, with everything from daily driver to track monster. There really is something for everyone. The event hits Sydney, Perth, Brisbane and Tasmania multiple times a year and has even spread overseas with events in New Zealand and the USA. Running Australian Drifting GP inside Powercruise means more value for money for spectators and more entertainment for Powercruise fans. For more info, head to the website powercruise.com. Well, it's time to get the battle started. Here is the Newlon Oil's Top 16 battle tree. Some pretty serious matchups about to unfold. Our first one, number 1 qualifier, Jared Klingberg and Jack Callow. These guys had to go a rerun after a mistake from Klingberg in the first battle. Will Jack Callow create an upset here? It's happened before, it could happen again. This is the rerun. Jared Klingberg leads in the Barossa Spot On Fishing K70, throws it in big angle. Callow simply couldn't match it. He dives in now as they come into the Achilles radial hairpin. A little bit messy from Callow there, but he does start to get better proximity on Jared Klingberg as they come past the I Love Drift finish line. Judges still giving that a slight advantage to Jared Klingberg after that crazy entry. Let's see what happens now when they flip it around. Jack Callow will lead in the Tintercar Gawler Commodore Ute. Throws it in big. Klingberg is right there with him. They transition now into the Achilles hairpin, but Klingberg throws it away. That spin gives him a 0 and hands the win straight over to Jack Callow.
We had to do a rerun. So like Jared's a fellow SA competitor and definitely a quick and snappy driver. But yeah, I think he made a mistake behind me, so puts me through.
Our next pairing now, the young gun Brent Gordon up against reigning Australian champion Rob White in the Achilles Radial 350Z. He's driving his backup car again this weekend, so he's a bit down on power. His new NASCAR-powered 370Z not ready for this weekend, but he's giving this car everything he can. As you can see there, big entry from Rob White. Brent Gordon doing everything he can. He goes a little bit wide there. Rob got one wheel onto the strip. Brent looks like he got two. So it'll be a points deduction for both drivers. Brent Gordon not doing too bad a job on the chase there. It was just a little bit messy on entry. Spin it around now. Brent Gordon is in the PSA ski boats S15. V8 power under the hood. An LSX drift conversion kit used for that car. Throws it in pretty big. Rob White. Pretty good chase so far. What happens now is they switch into that Achilles radial hairpin. Rob White, great proximity from the reigning champ as he cuts through into the short course and past the I Love Drift finish line, which will give him the win.
You know, I could see him right up there. But look, these Achilles tyres are working awesome for me, so I'll just keep doing what I'm doing, and hopefully we can get through the top four after the next one.
Our next pairing now, Josh Botcher in the tyre right, GT Radial 180SX from Queensland, and Jack Widders in the GH Haulage R31 from South Australia. Josh Botcher will lead as the higher qualifier. Let's see how this unfolds. Botcher, big entry. Widders very late to enter. Could not match Botcher's entry there. They come into the Achilles radial hairpin now. And Widders lost a little bit of ground coming through there, and Botcher just simply driving away. No other way to explain it than Josh Botcher simply outdrove Jack Widders. He has an advantage coming into this second run. Widders will either need to put on a stellar performance or hope that Botcher stuffs up. Let's see what happens. On their run up now. Widders initiates. Botcher's right there with him. Great emulation and proximity from Botcher on that entry. Widders goes wide though. Was that two wheels off? He hits the cone on the outer clip. He stalls on the entry into the Achilles radial hairpin, and that throws Botcher off as well. We're going to have to go to the Achilles radial replay now to take a look at what happened.
So Botcher clearly outdrives Widders on a lead run, pulling away over the finish line. Then the boys flip it around. Botcher has great proximity on the entry, but unfortunately Widders has two wheels over the white line, giving him an instant zero. He then goes wide into the hairpin, stalling Botcher, but the run has pretty much been done with a zero.
Mate, feeling good. Yeah, it was a tough battle. We had a bit of an issue on the first run with a bit of a hit, but got out there, threw out some sick angle. The GT radials hung on, and yeah, pumped to be through to the top 8.
A pretty serious matchup to have so early. Michael Rosenblatt in the Newlon Oils R32, Dale Campaign in the GH Haulage 1VR. Both of these guys were contenders last season coming into the final round. So this should be a pretty good battle indeed. Rosenblatt very aggressive and throws it in. Campaign a little bit late, winding on the angle to match. Bit sloppy on the entry. He's doing a little bit better now though into the Achilles radial hairpin. Starting to push up a little bit closer. That Newlon Oils R32. A very, very quick machine indeed. Judges saying no major advantage going either way, although Rosenblatt the slight advantage, if anything, due to the better entry. Let's see what happens now. Campaign's going to have to give a dominant chase if he wants to guarantee a win. Rosenblatt, a bit better on his chase on the entry, able to emulate a little bit better, nice and close coming to the Achilles radial hairpin. A very tight battle indeed, a tough one to call between these two drivers. One of the judges calling it a rerun, but the other two giving it to Rosenblatt.
Yeah, that was a good run then, super tight, you know, I was a bit worried getting up against Dale Campaign so early, but, you know, he was right on my door coming through the last corner, but, you know, we were pretty clean first line, so really happy to come away with the win, and, you know, I'd like to thank Commodore Eckers and Newlon.
Stick around as after the break, we continue our top 16 tandem battles. Hello and welcome back to round one of the Just Car Insurance Australian Drifting Grand Prix. Before we continue on with our top 16 tandem battles, let's catch up with some of the top drivers from last season and see what their predictions are for this one.
Last year I competed in the state series of ADGP. I decided to earn myself a licence the proper way through state class last year. Because I wanted to drive as a registered driver this year in the national series. Basically, I guess it's a lot of work to compete with these national guys. There's some crazy good drivers out here, and yeah, we'll see how we go really.
Last year I finished 6th in the championship. It was one better than last year, so yeah, a little bit happier. I was sitting in 1st at one point, then went back to 2nd for the last round. It was real tight. All the drivers had a chance to win it. I think it was in between 10 drivers could have won it in the last round. So yeah, it was a lot of pressure on, but yeah, it was still a good finish of the year anyway.
Yeah, we won down at SMP down in Sydney at the round 3 of ADGP. It was probably our favourite track last year, and yeah, the car was just feeling dialed. Yeah, it's bringing us a bit of confidence for this year. Got a bit more practice doing a few more series up in Queensland, so should be a good year this year.
Last season we had a really good start coming in third, and then we just had a couple of gearbox dramas that really needed the sorting. So I guess it was very disappointing to start that way and then fall away. So this year we want to be starting at the top as we did last year, but keep on going. And
on to the other side of the Newlon Oil's top 16 battle tree now. Our first pairing, two West Australians head-to-head. Adam Monk in that crazy twin-turbo S14 up against Chris Day. Our hard luck story of the weekend. He had to rebuild an engine overnight after blowing it up on the first lap, then rebuild a gearbox, and then replace the diff. But it paid off for him though. He qualified 6th, and now he's up against West Australian Adam Monk. Day throws it in. Big Monk, way too committed. 2 wheels over that white line. Is now very messy coming into the Achilles radial hairpin. Those 2 wheels over the white line will be a 0 for Adam Monk in the SRM S14. He's thrown that run away. That means coming into this run, Chris Day has the 10-0 advantage. Adam Monk will need to hope that Chris Day spins to force a rerun. So far, so good. Adam Monk's on a great run though. Chris Day is right there. He could take it easy, but he wants to try and get some battle practice in after all that repair work to the car meant he missed most of the practice sessions. And Chris Day, a great run. Let's go to the replay to see what happened to Adam Monk.
As you can see, Monk comes in way too fast, 4 wheels over the white line, which is an instant 0, and hands the win to Chris Day.
Couldn't be happier. Couldn't be happier, mate. It's been a hell of a weekend, the entire drive line.
Our next pairing, Nick the Drift Kid Coulson up against Keith Boy Adams. Keith, new sponsor for this season, Westlake Tyres. You can see down the side of that RB-powered S15. Nick Coulson in the X-Force Performance Exhaust, Achilles Radial VAU will lead. He throws it in big. Keith tries to follow him in, but he's overcommitted. Gets 2 wheels over the white line, then straightens out before coming into the Achilles Radial hairpin. Quite messy there. Manages to get back into the drift after the hairpin for the rest of the S's, but it's too late. The 2 wheels over the white line will give him a 0, so Nick Coulson has a big advantage here. Keith will have to hope for some type of miracle or Nick Coulson to spin. Keithy boy throws it in, has a big understeer moment there. Coulson manages to wash off the speed and keep the drift going. Excellent driving from the Drift Kid. Much better through this section from Keith. And the Westlake Tyres S15, but that 0 in the first run, it's too late, and the win for the Drift Kid.
Achilles Tyres performing great, lots of grip, onto the top 8.
Our next pairing, Bo Yates in the Wins Nitto Toyota 86 up against GH Haulage team captain Chris Valito in the R33 Stylo from South Australia. He's looking to make a much stronger charge this season. He's looking pretty good so far. Let's see what he can do now against Bo Yates. Bo, big entry. Salito's right there though, very aggressive. Dives in on Bo. Oh, bang, there's contact there. It straightens up Bo Yates. You can see the massive damage to the door there as Bo Yates drives past. Chris Salito's front right tyre has obviously done most of that damage. This means that Bo Yates will have a 10-0 advantage, as an accident like that is the fault of the chase car. Salito throws it in though. He's hoping for Bo Yates to have a spin and try and force a rerun, but Bo Yates right there giving us a great chase run. He could have taken it easy and coasted through, but he wanted to give the crowd a battle, and that he has done. Let's head to the Achilles Radial replay now to get another look at that contact.
So Salito very committed and aggressive on the entry, but just can't pull the big girl up and bang, run over.
Oh, me and Chris just made pretty solid contact in our top 16 then. I'm not sure what's wrong. I mean, I think the car's steering okay, but I think there's a lot of damage to the door, but I'm sure the boys will turn around for the top 8.
Our next pairing now, Levi Clark in the XD Racing S15 up against local Michael Jewston in the PZP 180SX. He's had mechanical dramas all weekend. Hopefully his luck can turn around in the battles here. He's following Levi Clark. He's got a tough job ahead of him. Watch this entry from Levi Clark. Throws it in big. Jewston isn't able to match the angle. dives in but runs a little bit wide there, getting the tyre on the ripple strip, a little bit messy into the Achilles radial hairpin, and just finding it very difficult to keep up with Levi Clark. That means Levi will have the advantage coming into the second run now. Houston will lead. Very aggressive on his entry, throws it in big, but Levi Clark is right there on the entry. Great proximity and emulation. Loses a little bit of ground coming to the hairpin, but puts the hammer down through the S's now. As he comes across the I Love Drift finish line, giving a dominant chase and a dominant lead. Let's go to the replay now and see that from the onboard.
Onboard with Houston, and as you can see, simply cannot match a huge entry from Levi, then runs wide, and it's pretty much all over from here.
Yeah, good man. City car's feeling awesome. Achilles tyres are hooking up, and thanks to Tap Out for keeping my energy up. Hopefully we make it through to the top 4.
Don't go anywhere, as after the break, we head into the top 8. Welcome back to round 1 of the Just Car Insurance Australian Drifting GP at Barbagallo Raceway in Western Australia. Before we head into the top 8, let's catch up with one driver who's had a big hard luck story this weekend.
Hi, I'm Chris Day, driver of the all-day construction Drift Commodore. Yesterday, after only, a lap and a half of the drift demo, we had a big fire. So lifting the bonnet, the whole thing was full of oil everywhere, big flames up the windscreen. I was devastated. I just desperately wanted to be involved in the competition. Brain started ticking, and we started thinking and making a few calls. 4 o'clock we had an engine on a crate with an engine crane on site. We then, thanks to a good bunch of Samaritans, spent the entire night till 6 a.m. working right here at the dyno shop at 9 a.m, finishing off, getting the bugs out with an unknown stock engine, and got it on the dyno. Unfortunately, it's holding together. We got the job done, we're here.
Well, one round down, now we are into the Newlon Oils Top 8 Battle Tree. Things get even more serious now. Jack Callow, big upset in the first round when he defeated number 1 qualifier Jared Klingberg. Can he now defeat reigning champion Rob White? They've already had to go 2 reruns, both drivers making mistakes each time around. This is their 3rd battle now. Rob White leads, very aggressive, throws it in, gives it everything he's got. He's in his old backup car, so he's a bit down on power. Callow, a bit messy on that entry there, loses a lot of ground there. And Rob White starting to drive away from him. Rob White will have a slight advantage coming into the second run now, so Jackson Callow needs to step it up in that Tintercar Gawler. VY Commodore U, he throws it in big. Rob White is right there though on the switch. Rob White dives in, but Callow too aggressive and spins it around. And that hands the win straight to Rob White.
3 reruns. It was hard work. It's hard. Yeah, look, he was driving really good. I was probably not driving the best. He'd make a mistake, I'd make a mistake, and we just sort of evened it out. So look, we finally he made a bit of an error on the last on the hairpin corner there, so it went to me. So looking forward to top 4. I think all us Queensland boys are almost going to end up together, so it's going to be pretty fun.
Our next pairing, Michael Rosenblatt in the Newlon Oils R32 Skyline up against Josh Botcher in the Tyrite GT Radial 180SX. This should be a good one. They both qualified up the leaderboard, only half a point between them. They also showed us some great practice battles earlier today. What can they do now in the competition? Botcher throws it in big, but Rosenblatt is right there with him. Great emulation and proximity in that Newlon Oils R32. He's all over the back of Botcher now, coming in through the S's. This is the best battle we've seen so far today, ladies and gentlemen. Rosenblatt will have the advantage coming into this second run after that killer chase. Botcher's going to need to turn up the heat. Can he do it? Rosenblatt throws it in, another massive entry. But Botcher makes contact with Rosenblatt, straightens him up, and throws that run away. Let's go to the Achilles radial replay now to have another look at that contact.
On board with Rosenblatt, pretty much a textbook run, giving the judges exactly what they want to see. All over the back of Botcher, door to door. Now we flip around, on board with Botcher, comes in nice and committed, but way too hot, makes contact, and it's all over.
Another great run with Josh Botcher, you know, a good mate. Must have done something wrong, a bit unlucky this weekend. We seem to just be getting hit everywhere and breaking arms and bending this, so we'll quickly duck in and try and get the rear end sorted out as close as we can and get back out there for the top 4.
Battle of the Commodores now. It's starting to happen more often. Nick Coulson and the X-Force Achilles VE Ute, Chris Day in the all-day construction VX Commodore. One supercharged, one turbocharged, one Ute, one sedan. Nick Coulson will lead. Another big, aggressive entry from the Drift Kid. Chris Day not able to match the angle. Was a little bit messy on the entry. Runs wide here on the Achilles radial hairpin. Doesn't quite get where he needs to be and loses ground to Nick Coulson. That means the Drift Kid will have the advantage coming into this run. And we know Nick Coulson very consistent in the battles. He throws it in, matches Chris Day on the entry. Starting to push in now, and that KS Racing out of clip into the hairpin now. Nick Coulson on tidier chase run. He already had the advantage. And he will stay that way. Not a lot in it, but the Drift Kid is going to take the win.
Yeah, I had a good battle with Chris Day. 2 Commodores, Battle of the Commodores, went really well. Thanks to X-Force's performance, helping us get here as well. He put on a great run. I think I just had the that little bit of advantage just on the first lap. But yeah, did well.
Well, these are 2 of the most standout cars here. They're both very bright, very loud, very fast, and both have very talented drivers behind the wheel. Levi Clark, XP Racing S15. Bo Yates wins Nitto 86. Levi Clark's been giving us some big entries all weekend. Will we get another one? Yes, we do. 90 degrees. Bo Yates can't match the angle. What's this? Bo Yates cuts across, takes the inside line to try and dive in on Levi Clark. It helped him get a little bit closer, but we'll lose points for emulation there. Judges want to see you copy what the lead car does and follow their line. Bo Yates cut right across that line. That means the advantage will now go to Levi Clark. Full throttle run up, Bo Yates throws it in. Levi Clark is right there. They were applying great pressure. This is what the judges want to see, door-to-door action. Into the Achilles radial hairpin, now into the S's. Levi Clark's still there, giving us a great chase run. He already had the advantage and now he's sealed the deal with the win. Let's go to the Achilles radial replay now.
Okay, so on board with Yates, who simply cannot match that huge angle by Levi, dives up the inside, over the white line, and pretty much seals his fate.
Yeah, it's an awesome run with Bo. The XC15 keeps singing, so I can't wait for top 4.
After the break, we get to the pointy end of the field with the top 4 battles.
At Just Car Insurance, we're into imported, high performance and modified cars. So if it's not just a car and you want comprehensive insurance that offers easy pay by the month premiums, call Just Car Insurance on 13 13 26 or buy a new policy online and save $50.
Welcome back to round 1 of the Just Car Insurance Australian Drifting Grand Prix. We're about to head into the top 4 battles here at Barbagallo Raceway in Western Australia. Before we do, let's catch up with one of the main contenders.
Hi, I'm Michael Rosenblatt, driver of the Commodore Wreckers Newline Oils R32. Last year we finished 5th, really kind of came home strong at the end of the season, first year in it, so we're pretty happy with the result for our first go. Coming into this year's season, I'm probably more hungry than ever. Like last year I was a bit complacent, feeling it out a little bit this year. I feel comfortable. Everyone kind of know everyone now, know the track, so yeah, no, we're going to have a good go this year. Newline came on board in the beginning of this year. You know, I'm pretty excited to have them on board with myself and coming on board with the ADGP for this year. Yeah, the car's a bit crazy. It's got a LS2 6 litre out of a VE, and that's stroked out to a 6.8 litre. The suspension, it's got an S13 chassis, so it's gone from it's now a McPherson strut setup, which is completely wrong for a 32 Skyline. So it's you could say it's a very one-off car, and you won't see another car like it. But yeah, we're happy with it, and we're really starting to get it dialed in.
We're at the pointy end of the field now. This is the Newlon Oil's top 4 battle tree, an all-Queensland affair. Our first pairing will be reigning champion Rob White in the Achilles Radial 350Z and Michael Rosenblatt in the Newlon Oil's R32. Rob White has done well in his old backup car to make it this far. It's down on power compared to much of the rest of the field. Rosenblatt has been on fire though, throws in with another big entry. Rob White's a little bit later on the entry though, so he can catch back up. Now he's giving us a great chase run though. Good proximity and emulation from Rob into the hairpin and now through the S's, giving it everything he's got. And lays down a pretty good chase run. Judges saying probably no major advantage going either way. Rosenblatt gave a great lead. Rob gave a great chase. Was it enough to secure advantage? If anything, would only be minimal. Rob White will lead now though. Rosenblatt throws it in with him. He's better on proximity emulation on that entry. That's what happens now. Rosenblatt, one wheel gets out of the ripple strip. Oh, he has a bit of a moment there. Had a bit of a straighten out, corrected, went a bit wide. Another little straighten as he came through the hairpin. Very messy through there. And I think that's going to mean the win goes to Rob White. Let's take a look at the Achilles Radial replay now to see what happened.
On board with Rosenblatt, who does a great job on proximity on the entry, but then runs wide, has an understeer, has to reinitiate the drift, and then has another little understeer and hands the win over to Rob. From this angle, you can see Rosenblatt has a big understeer, almost straightens out, has to reinitiate the drift. Once again, see the wheels straightening up, hands going everywhere, handing the win over to Rob.
Against one of my best buddies in drifting, you know, Mick and I practiced together in our missiles and everything. So look, I was surprised to get it. You know, he's, you know, I mean, not the best car, you know, put forward. And I mean, his car's great, so he must have made an error. I'm not quite sure, but I'm going to take the win. You know, really bad luck to Mick. We all travel together, we all drink together, we do everything. So it's a shame that one of us had to lose. But yeah, look, I'm happy to take the win today for sure.
Well, the reigning champion is through. Will he go up against his arch nemesis Nick Coulson, who he has battled many times before in the finals, or will he go up against this man, Levi Clark, in that Exeter Racing Clutch tap-out S15? He's been on fire so far this weekend, giving us some great entries, lots of entertainment for the crowd. Can he do it again this run? We think he can. Levi, full throttle run up, throws it in big, but Coulson is able to answer the call. He's right there with him. Coulson a little bit shallow coming into that Achilles Radial hairpin to catch back up, but he's pushing hard over the last part of the course and over the I Love Drift finish line. Judges saying no major advantage going either way on that run. There was a little mistake from Nick Coulson there, but overall gave us a pretty good chase. We'll switch it around now. Coulson leads, throws it in big. Levi's right there's a little correction on that entry. Both drivers running out a little bit wide to that ripple strip. They're now into the Newlon Oil's S's. Levi not able to get as close to Nick as Nick was to him over that last part of the course. So it looks like the judges are going to ask to see it one more time. Let's go to the Achilles Radial replay first.
On board with Coulson, finally someone that can match Levi's huge entry, getting it all right. A slight cut through the hairpin, but overall a pretty amazing chase. Levi with the chase now, nice and aggressive, but just runs a little bit too wide on the outer clip. Now switching over the onboard, you can see Levi's nice and aggressive, but just runs that little bit too wide on the outer clip. His only mistake, and that's why the judges want to see it again.
Well, let's go at it one more time. Levi Clark, XB Racing Clutch S15. Nick Coulson, X-Force Achilles VE Ute. Levi, another full throttle, massive entry. Nick Coulson was able to match the angle and the speed, but just wasn't close enough. He dives back in though into that KS Racing outer clip. Now through the Newlon Oil's S's, he's much closer. So he lacked proximity on the entry, but made up for it by being nice and close on the rest of the course. Judges saying no major advantage, if anything, maybe slightly to Coulson for giving a great chase. Let's see what happens this time. Coulson throws it in big. Clark is right there. He's washed a lot of speed off though, too much speed, and has a massive correction, a bit of a straighten up and a bobble coming into the hairpin, and now he's a little bit messy as he started the Newlon Oil's S's, and it took him to the end of that course to gather himself back up. Let's go to the Achilles Radial replay now to see what happened.
From this angle, you can see Clark having an understeer, straightening out over the clipping point. It's getting very messy. Once again, straightening out, extending the drift, just handing the win over to Coulson.
Yeah, just had a good battle with Levi. Went to a rerun. It's good to have all Queensland top 4. These Achilles 1, 2, 3s, just sensational grip. Levi really put it to me. I had to work for it, so good on Levi. And yeah, onto the top 4, top 2.
Don't go anywhere, as after the break, we head into the finals. Welcome back to round 1 of the Just Car Insurance Australian Drifting Grand Prix at Barbagallo Raceway in Western Australia. We've had some intense battles so far, but now it is finals time. We're going to see who the winner is of the very first round of the 2014-15 championship. Let's go. Well, it's time to determine our podium here at round 1. This is the Newline Oils Finals Battle Tree. First up, the battle for third place, Levi Clark and Michael Rosenblatt. Many people predicted that they would meet in the finals this round, but some mistakes saw them relegated back down into the battle for third place. Which one of them will make it on the podium? Will it be Levi Clark in that XD Racing Tap-Out S15, or Michael Rosenblatt in the Newline Oils Commodore Wreckers R32? Levi leads. Another massive entry from Levi Clark, but Rosenblatt is right there with him, nice and aggressive on his chase. Let's see what happens now into the Newline Oils S's, and Rosenblatt is glued to the back of Levi Clark's S15. Judges awarding the advantage to Michael Rosenblatt after that chase. We'll switch it around now. Rosenblatt will lead. Levi will take chase. He's going to have to step it up. Rosenblatt has the advantage. Rosenblatt throws it in. Levi's right there, but makes contact. Rosenblatt continues to drift, but Levi spins it around, hands the win straight to Rosenblatt. His car is a magnet this weekend. So many other cars have run into him. Let's go to the Achilles radial replay now and take another look.
On board with Rosenblatt now. Another textbook chase run all over the back of Levi. But this is where it all goes wrong. Levi overcommits, bang, big contact, spins him around, and this is where Rosenblatt says good night.
Well, they meet again, Nick Coulson and Rob White. They've done it in the finals many times before in many events. Now they're about to do it again. If you look at the percentages, Rob White's probably won a few more than Nick, but he is catching up in that X-Force. Performance exhaust Achilles VE Ute. Full throttle, throws it in, big entry. Rob White's a little bit late winding on the angle. Rob doing everything he can to keep up. He goes a little bit wide of that ripple strip. Makes a little bit of ground in the Achilles radial hairpin, but through the Newline S's, he simply just can't keep up to the Drift Kid in that X-Force Achilles VE Ute. Just remember, Rob White is in his backup car this weekend, his new car not finished, so he's down on power compared to the rest of the field, but he's giving it everything he's got. As he said, he's just driving the wheels off it, giving it everything to try and keep up. Let's see what happens now when they turn it around. Rob White leads, throws it in big, but Coulson is able to match him. In fact, even a little bit more angle. Coulson all over the back of Rob White now to the Achilles radial hairpin through the S's. And Nick Coulson giving a more dominant chase run. Let's go to the Achilles radial replay now and take a closer look at both of those runs.
Okay, so on board with Rob White here, struggling to keep up with Nick Coulson. Runs wide on the transition, very shallow on the angle, misses the outer clipping point, still shallow, and then completely misses the last clipping point. Rob's car is definitely struggling to keep up. Nick Coulson chasing now, very aggressive, all over the back of Rob White. Now switching over to the onboards, Nick Coulson had a dominant lead run, now having a dominant chase run. Let's find out who won.
Nick Coulson defeated in the Achilles radial VE Ute. Rob White takes second.
Feeling pretty happy. You know, last year we struggled to get on the podium. You know, had a bit of a up and down weekend. I've been hitting the front right, left front, right rear. So the car's a little bit crab walky, but you know, to come away with third, I'm super happy. Yeah, the first round's always the worst. You know, you got a bit of nerves, and you know, you want to start on a good note. So come away with third, and with the car struggling as we were, I'm really happy.
We came here with an ambitious amount of trying to get top 10. We knew we didn't have, you know, what the car of the level everyone's getting to now. You know, we were hoping to have our new car finished. It wasn't. You know, we prung out Old Faithful, you know, just hoping to get a top 10. That's what we decided for. Let's just go, get some points, and then do the next 3 rounds with the new car and try get, you know, to get top 2. I mean, it's just, look, it was amazing. So, you know, look.
It's good to have a series win against Rob White. Always battling each other, but we always have fun. So Achilles 1 and 2 couldn't be happier. It's definitely given me a lot of confidence winning this round. Going into round 2, I'll be doing exactly what we did. Team performed excellent. Just got to do it all again. Levi Clark definitely gave it to me. We had a really good first run. Went to a rerun. I'm sitting there really nervous, but as usual, he put on an awesome effort, and I came away with the win, luckily. I have to thank Achilles. They've done an awesome job getting us here, as well as the tyres. Unbelievable grip. Never had a problem with them. Same to X-Force, MPC, Fulcrum Performance, and High Torque.
Well, that's it for round 1 of the Just Car Insurance Australian Drifting GP at Barbagallo Raceway in Western Australia. Let's take a look at the top 10 results, which is now the series leaderboard. Levi Clark in 4th, Botcher in 5th, making an all-Queensland top 5. Chris Day took 6th, a great result after his mechanical dramas. Bo Yates in 7th, Jack Callow in 8th. Number 1 in qualifying meant Jared Klingberg took 9th, and Brent Gordon, the local young gun, rounds out the top 10. Round 2 will be at the Calder Park Thunderdome in Melbourne, Victoria on Saturday, December 13th. It's a day-night event with gates opening to general spectators at 5 p.m. and top 16 going from 6 p.m. to 8:30 with extra entertainment. For more info and tickets, head to the website australiandriftinggp.com.